Chill.
I don't stress out, nigga.
You got a wild one today, Brody.
Wait on my shoulder, bring the best out, nigga.
Got a wild one today.
Get it right,
Something light, though.
Out, nigga.
I don't stress out, though.
Nah.
Look, playing pocket my cassette loud, nigga.
Uh-huh.
I remember feeling like a stepchild, nigga.
Talk net.
I would hate to see my mama stressed out, nigga.
Mm.
And Black Sam would tell me, poke your chest out, nigga.
I could die the day I made the set proud, nigga.
And I could fly away, but I respect vows, nigga. Used to always say I make the whole world feel us. Now I'm on a tour around the whole world, nigga.
Yeah.
Paparazzi waiting at my hotel, nigga.
Yeah.
Smoking while I'm driving, that's with no else, nigga. 20 bands a month, just for your bills, nigga. Princess cut diamonds up in your grill, nigga. Now smile in every camera and show your trill, nigga. You feed them what you want.
What's good, podcasters, internets? You are now listening to the Goldmembers Podcast. I'm one half of the Goldmembers Podcast, certified gold member, none other than yours truly, Herb Reed, and I'm with my brother right here to my right.
Yeah, man, the other half, man, your boy Tyson, man, we back, man. We ready, episode 6, you feel me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, broski, we got a good one.
We do got a good one today, man. I ain't even gonna front.
But before we get into all of that, man, all of our listeners, make sure y'all check us out on all streaming platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and what else am I missing?
Yeah, make sure they follow us on IG. You know what I mean? Goldmembers Podcast on IG. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel still. Got more content coming for y'all. All of that, you know?
Most definitely, man. And this is, what is this? This is episode number 6.
Number 6.
Damn.
They lucky we was dropping. We about to get to dropping 2 pods a week. Somebody hit me in the DM like, yo, bro, slow down. I'm only on episode 4. I said, nah, man, it's consistency, Brody. We gotta keep it going for y'all.
You gotta have consistency.
Gotta have consistency, because if you lack, you ain't gonna get back. You're gonna be right there, man, chilling at home, forgetting that you could have been doing more. You know
I like that. I like that. You might have to coin that. If you lack, you might not get back.
You might not get back.
For real, for real.
Word up.
But we got some interesting topics, man. Some controversial topics. This is probably going to be our most controversial show yet.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot going on, you know, a lot of people weighing their opinions on different issues on COVID and you know, different things. And so, you know, we're going to dive into this, man, unapologetically. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Shout out to all of our listeners who got feedback and expressed their opinions. You know, we value everybody's opinion.
Word, old and new listeners, man.
Yeah, most definitely, man. But what do you say we jump right into it, man?
I say we get right into
because my Instagram is buzzing off as we speak.
I was about to say, man, you had a hot phone this afternoon, man. Like, God. Yeah, I see the likes and the not the likes, the views. The views going crazy because, you know, you do what you do, man. It's not your first time going to war with one of these media moguls. I done seen you do this shit with Charlemagne.
Right.
I done seen you do this shit with Charlemagne the God. So, you know, I already know, man. Like, when it's time, man. We're going to get ready. We here. We ain't had this type of platform to get into it like we used to, but.
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, and one of the main topics that we want to jump into, you know, and I think a better way to kind of frame it, you know, so that we're not just, you know, focusing in on one issue or one topic or one individual even, is like athletes in leadership. You know, and when we talk about leadership, we're talking about black athletes in leadership in the black community or in black social movements. And so if you're not too, you know, privy on sports and athletes and some of the things that they do off the field, there's a podcast that I'm actually a fan of.
I love this podcast. I ain't got front.
Shout out to I Am Athlete
Shout
podcast.
out to I Am Athlete.
You know, Brandon Marshall and those guys,
My
Fred
guy,
Taylor,
Ocho Cinco.
What's the
light skinned dude's name, man? I fuck with him. His energy's ridiculous.
Shanning something.
I fuck with him, man. He know he ain't going to the hall and all that, but
Yeah. He usually has like an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, all the time. But it's always a good, juicy opinion, and he's raw as shit when it comes to to it. You know what I mean? But shout out to I Am Athlete.
Yeah, for sure, man. So on the latest episode, which I believe they just kicked off their new season of their podcast,
They did.
One of the special guests that they had on their most recent episode was Dez Bryant, formerly.
This is part 1 too.
This is part 1.
This is part 1.
And it was Dez Bryant. Formerly
Former
with the former player with the Dallas Cowboys,
Former star receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. He wore Michael Irvin's number
88.
He's from Dallas.
From Dallas.
He went to Oklahoma State. You know, he was an all-time great wide receiver in college. So, you know, he's a borderline Hall of Famer too. He just probably not gonna get a ring, but other than that, injuries kind of set him back a little bit. But
right, and I mean, not only that, but you know, Dez Bryant is one of those athletes who is not. He's not your poster boy. I'll say that. He's usually on the bad side of media and publicity.
And it's only because he's always going at them and challenging them and, you know, giving them something that they're not used to, you know, some shit that they're not even ready to talk about for real.
Right. And he's usually real. Like, you know, I can relate to a lot of the things that he says. So in his interview, which, like bro said, it was just part 1 of the interview, there was about 30 seconds where he and this was part of a bigger conversation, but there was about 30 seconds where he addressed a personal issue that he had with Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, it wasn't even like a full 30 seconds. This might have been like 2 or 3 words, boom, and it was already gone.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, he just stated that he had a personal issue with him. So so how the conversation started on that particular episode was Dez Bryant basically expressing, you know, to them, you know, that he felt like, you know, athletes, particularly in the NFL, need to come together, you know, not only to, no pun intended, but to tackle issues on the field, but to tackle issues off the field.
Yeah, and he said that, you know, around the time when all the crazy stuff was happening last year, you know, to be exact, there was a lot of companies and a lot of different players out there literally just Black Lives Matter, you know, for the movement, for the people, doing all this, you know, stuff to make it seem like they was for us. You know what I mean? But like you say, he got into it where he wanted to know, you know, they didn't keep it going.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
They didn't keep that part going. So
Right.
they didn't keep that same energy. That same energy they had last year ain't happening this year. You know what I mean? So he wanted to point that out, and he had a specific person in the NFL he kind of named.
Right. So he pretty much, but again, that was a part of a larger conversation.
Yeah, 'cause
you
they
know what I
talked
mean?
about-
He talked about Patrick Mahomes. He talked about Roger Goodell, who's the commissioner of the NFL.
He did do that.
Jerry Jones. You know, he talked about all these individuals and how they need to come together, just like we said, not to just represent athletes, but to represent the Black community and issues that take place off of the field. And in the midst of that, he talked about how, you know, he's reached out, you know, because everybody, you know, Colin Kaepernick was in the news. Everybody got to see, you know, Colin Kaepernick take a kneel, and then, you know, him being like blacklisted out of the NFL and him receiving a lot of backlash. And, you know, a lot of that was supposed to translate into some type of advocacy, you know, or some type of social movement, you know, outside of the NFL, because that's what Colin Kaepernick was saying he was taking a stand for, to basically address the issues that are happening in the Black community. And so Dez Bryant being, you know, Dez Bryant, he's not a no name.
No,
Dez Bryant is a star. He's a household name.
And he's a voice. He even said it on the show. He even said it, like, you know, the reason why he's not still playing is because he's going to educate. He's going to tell, you know, the youth. He's going to tell the other Black athletes what they need to be doing and what they need to be watching out for. You know, they don't want that.
So he's pretty much on the same boat as a Colin Kaepernick. He's pretty much been blacklisted because, like you said, he's a voice. He speaks from his heart.
And
he speaks from his own experiences. Right. And he speaks from his own experiences. So, and I didn't even know that. I didn't know he was one of the people that was taking a knee.
A lot of people, everybody was taking a knee in the NFL, but he's a person who took a knee too. You know what I mean?
Right.
In support of what was going on.
Right. So, furthermore, to kind of piggyback off of that, he expressed a personal issue during this interview that he had with Colin Kaepernick. And I think, to just be straightforward about it, his issue was that he reached out to Colin Kaepernick over several years to try to partner with him, to try to collaborate with him on these issues.
On what's going on.
Or just get some clarity on what's the next steps, what's the call to action. And he said that, he hasn't received a call back from Colin Kaepernick.
A message, nothing.
A message or anything. And so he took that personal. For him, that's a problem.
It is. And he said it. He said, I held this in for a long time. He could have easily went to Twitter. He could have went to Instagram and put it out there, but it wouldn't have been heard like it was heard on this podcast. So he went on there. He said, I was waiting to get on a platform like this and speak on this. But the thing is, he didn't even really speak. He just let it be known. Like, I hit him up a long time ago and I wanted to connect and talk about, like you said, call to action. But he hasn't heard anything back. And that doesn't feel right for somebody who was actually out there playing, taking a knee, going to...
Took a loss,
and actually getting on your side to the point so much now that he's looked at as a villain in the locker room to GMs and coaches and stuff like that, because he's educating the youth about what's going on and what's going to happen. So...
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, as a from and I think a lot of things get lost in translation, because I was reading the comments, on the post. If someone took that little 30-second clip out of a 48-minute interview and posted that to social media, and it created this whole misperception that he was hating on Colin Kaepernick or he was trying to antagonize Colin Kaepernick. And that's not what he was doing at all. That was actually the tail end of they had been talking for at least 15, 20 minutes about how to bring athletes together so that they can collaborate on issues.
And it kind of seemed like he kind of forgot that he even wanted to bring it up, because he just was like, he put it in there at the end so quick. It was like a throw-in right quick. Like, and I hit up Colin Kaepernick and he ain't really hit me back, you know what I mean? And I just wanted to, what's the call to action?
Right. And so, as a result of that 30-second clip or that short clip being posted to social media, one of a former sports broadcaster of ESPN, Jemele Hill. She was the co-host on the show, on the morning show, His and Hers, with what was his name?
Guy Mike.
Mike.
I love Mike.
And so she's no longer with ESPN anymore. She was actually let go from ESPN.
Yeah, because she was being real controversial.
Right, because of some of her statements that she made. Got her fired from ESPN. And so, she took it upon herself via Twitter to mention Dez Bryant and, talk about, him dragging Colin Kaepernick's name. And she even threw out some stats, basically coming to Colin Kaepernick's defense about some of the things that he's doing. Because Dez Bryant's like, I don't see you out here no more. And so she went, and I'm going to read her quote directly. It says,
Hold up, bro. You should play the clip from Dez first.
Okay. All right.
So they can just know exactly
give it some context.
You know what I mean? And then it's like, why did you even go in like that?
Right. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to play the clip, and then we'll get into Jemele Hill's statement via Twitter. So here goes the clip.
And I want to mention this too. I respect Colin Kaepernick, but there's one thing that I don't respect. And I said it when I get the opportunity. And to get on the stage to say it, I would say it. And I love him to death. So it ain't no hate or nothing like that. But, brother, you had the biggest opportunity in the world to create jobs, build jobs, give jobs to people. The people that you was talking about, the people that you so-called standing up for, the people who stood beside you, the people who lost their jobs because of you. Where you at? I ain't heard from you. I reached out to you. Where you at? Real always, and gonna stay that way. He brought the awareness, and that's why I respect him.
But what's the call to action?
There wasn't one. There wasn't no call to action. It's just like I see all these athletes, I hear them on Twitter, they be writing these cool-ass captions. I be like, hey, the NFL told you to put out a Black Lives Matter tweet, and you did it. But I ain't see you do it. That's a difference. You get what I'm saying? So when I communicate with you, you know, whenever it's not the trending thing, because I'm for real about it, you don't say nothing to me, it's a problem.
This kid.
And look, that wasn't even in 30 seconds. That's what I'm saying. Somebody took 30 seconds out of that we just heard, and he went into more. Yo, Colin Kaepernick wasn't even in the league when everybody was doing the whole thing last year, putting out the tweets last year and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. He wasn't even in the league when everybody was doing all of that stuff. So you could tell he's talking about dudes who are currently playing right now, too.
Right.
Like, he's not just singling out Colin only. Like, he said his name, but he also talked about other players in the, you know what I mean?
He talked about how he put together a whole action plan and presented it to different players like Patrick Mahomes, who is someone who just signed a $500 million deal.
And that's his son's favorite player.
And he said he took his action plan to Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes said, I'll get back to you. And he said he was fine with that. He said he has no problem with that. He said because he knows that, one, Patrick Mahomes is busy as a professional athlete.
And he's the face of the NFL.
And two, when he gets the time or when he feels like this should be implemented, then he can come back and then they can continue that conversation.
But even my guy who I was talking about, light skin money, he even said, like, do you think he want to mess that money up?
Right.
Because you going into the fight, you would call it.
We talking $500 million.
You want to mess that up by trying to help some people who can't help you? That's
right.
what they trying to say. And Dez is like, nigga, fuck that. I'm with all of that. Yeah, let's do it. But there's certain people who don't want to risk that.
Right. And so Jemele Hill, again, former sports broadcaster, you know, still in Undisputed. Television.
I think she's doing Undisputed now with LeBron.
No, she does. Yeah, I think she does. But she also has her own podcast called J Hill Unbothered. Okay. And so she took to Twitter and she actually added Dez Bryant in this tweet, and I'm gonna read it word for word. It goes, with all my fault. It goes, with all due respect, Dez Bryant, this is uninformed. Colin Kaepernick has created a publishing company, a SPAC, which is a super PAC, it's a super political action committee that's raising $300 million for social justice initiatives, a production company, etc. On top of founding the Know Your Rights campaign. I don't get the point of dragging his name. Dez Bryant responds by saying, I'm a product of media hate, so I get it. At Jemele Hill, you could have called me and got a better understanding of what I was saying, but you have your own motive. I've reached out to Cap for years and no response. Raising $300 million would be easy if we had unity among athletes. She responds again, saying, I have zero motive at all, other than hating to see misinformation spread about someone who has done extensive work for meaningful change. Maybe you didn't mean to disparage him, but your comments contributed to a false narrative. By the way, his call to action was to just do the work.
And this is when it got spicy.
And this is when it gets spicy. Because you know me, if you know Herb, you know I don't hold my tongue. So here I come. But mind you, I watched that interview with Dez Bryant prior to this. When it first came out, I watched that entire interview. I think
Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, it came out a few days ago, and I watched that entire. It's a really great interview. I can't wait till they drop part 2. But here I come, and I'm going to read my comment on that post. My comment says, at Jemele, you're reaching, and I hate to say it, but stay in a woman's place. Don't get in the middle of two men. Let Colin defend himself. And oh my God, did that open up the floodgates.
It was your choice of words.
It was.
It was your choice of words.
It was. And most people took issue with the fact that I said stay in a woman's place.
Because if you would have just said stay in
your place,
your lane.
Right, stay in your lane, stay in your place.
Stay in your lane. It probably wouldn't have been taken like that, shooken up like that, how people was taking it in the comment section. But go ahead.
But no, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I could sit here on camera, on a recorded device, and say that maybe my choice of words wasn't the best, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm human. But I stand on what I say. I don't take that statement back. And what I meant was by, staying in a woman's place is that when you have two men, right, who are
in the same
industry, who are in the same pocket, whatever you want to call it. You have two men who are addressing an issue personal. He's talking about how he has a personal problem with you not returning his phone calls. I don't feel like a woman should I don't feel like anybody, men or women, should not insert themselves, white, black, brown, whatever you identify as. You have no business. You have no place in that conversation. And you know what? Men understand that. See, and this is why it is somewhat about gender and, all those different things, because men understand that. Men understand that when a conversation is happening between two men, you mind your business. Because between men, there's a low threat of violence.
And growing up, it's literally when two grown folks are having a conversation. Mind your business.
Mind your business.
Don't
Stay in your place.
Keep your nose clean.
Right? And so men understand that because, like I was saying, there's a low threat of violence between men. Mm-hmm. We understand that if we disrespect each other, it may go from words to the fisticuffs. Right?
Or even worse, yeah.
Or even worse. People get killed for stuff like this.
Yeah.
Right? And so men have that understanding with each other. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to, disrespect you. You're not going to disrespect me, because there's a very big chance that it's going to go past this.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that sometimes women don't have that understanding. Women don't understand that principle that men establish with each other without even saying anything. You feel me?
Yeah, it's like that in a relationship, but I ain't gonna go off track.
Right. And so the same, people were, but Jemele Hill actually responded to this. Should I read her response?
Which one you want?
To me.
Yeah. You gotta read her response.
She responded to me, and she said, the critical take you offered was that I need to stay in a woman's place. How wonderfully misogynistic. FYI, I have way more stake in this conversation than you do. She's talking to me. Mm-hmm. I'm a producer on Cap's upcoming documentary, so maybe you should find your place and sit there. Well, what Jemele Hill doesn't know is that, yes, Jemele Hill, I have found my place, and I do sit in my place. And when I get out of place, there's someone there to check me and put me back into my place. Mm-hmm. So I'm not offended by that. I'm not marginalized. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not discriminated against. I'm not shunned. I'm not overlooked. Because, yes, I do understand that I have a place. Just like it wouldn't be my place to get into a confrontation that involves two women. Why would I do that? As a man, and there are two women who are perfectly capable of resolving their own issues, why would I then take my outside perspective and insert myself in a conversation where I don't belong?
Unless you got a motive.
Unless I got a motive. Right. And so, and so I guess that maybe she felt that I was supposed to be offended by that, but it's like, well, yeah, I do know my place. You obviously don't know yours. And a lot of people obviously don't know their place. And that's part of what's wrong with the world nowadays. Nobody knows their place. We got kids telling parents what to do. We covered topics where we got politicians who don't know their place, and they're putting in legislation about women's bodies and the choices that they can and can't make. That is not your place. It's not your place. And so, yes, Jemele Hill, once again, when I'm in the room with elders and they're speaking, I sit there and I keep my mouth closed. Why? Because I know my place, right? When my superiors at my job, the executives at my job are planning and making decisions, I sit there and I be quiet. Why? Because I know my place. As I said, when two women are at odds and, I'm present, I don't intervene. Why? Because I know my place, right? So you don't make me feel bad. No one can make me feel bad by being in my place. I'm very comfortable in my place. I excel in my place. You know what I mean? I get paid in my place. You feel me? And I can say whatever I want because I don't work for nobody.
Yeah. And that's number one.
And so you don't offend me by saying know your place. I do know my place, and I stay in my place. And I'm fortunate enough, as I said, to have people to correct me and put me back into my place. And so I think that's a misperception. It doesn't make me misogynistic. It doesn't make anyone misogynistic.
No, not whatsoever. I think, like you said, I mean, when she wrote you back, what did she say? She said, I'm a producer on Cap's Up and Coming Dog.
Right.
But wouldn't that give her a motive to be trying to speak out and have something to say on this matter in the first place?
Right.
Like her saying, I don't have a motive, completely got shut down by her writing back to you, telling you what her motive could be.
What her motive was.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, go ahead.
No, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, why would you sit there and say that if you don't have much to say? Like, if you didn't have a motive, and that goes to show you definitely got a motive off the strength. You're out here you're atting this man. You could have been subliminal.
Right. You could have just said his name and didn't have to add him.
Or you could have called him like he said.
Just like he said. I'm pretty sure you're in the sports industry. You could have got his number.
Because he seems like the type, he's hitting up Colin Kaepernick, so he seems like he's easy to get in contact with, easy to get in touch with.
Right.
Easy to find.
Right. And so, most people will say, well, he addressed it in a public space, so why can't people comment on it in a public space? I don't think he's saying that. I don't think he's saying don't comment on this. I think that he's addressing it publicly because he reached out to him privately. The man's not giving him the proper respect of returning his phone call after years of him reaching out. And so he said it. So now that I have the opportunity to address you, because you're not giving me the opportunity to address you privately.
Yeah, no, not
so
at all.
I'm going to address you publicly.
Why wouldn't she give us a call? Have a talk with us?
Right.
She can have a talk with us.
For real.
Give us a call, Jemele. Shit, I'll give you my number right now, 857.
Right. And we ain't reaching. This ain't clout chasing. We ain't trolling because we don't need you.
Nah, I don't even, to be honest with you don't got to call me.
Yeah, but I'm just saying because, because everybody with this new age stuff trolling and clout chasing, this ain't we don't need you, Jemele.
Nah, and we can literally, we don't gotta have a conversation on camera or nothing like that. Like we said, just talk, regular conversation behind closed doors or on the phone. It don't matter. We ain't gotta record nothing.
Right. We have our own platform and we can't be fired from it.
Nah, whatsoever.
We're the bosses of this. And so, but I just want to go in on what you said because I want to deep dive into a little. We're only going to talk about this for a couple more minutes, then we're going to move on. But I kind of want to deep dive into her first tweet where she said Colin Kaepernick created a publishing company, which is for-profit. Publishing companies are for-profit companies. SPAC, which, as I said, is a super political action committee that's raising $300 million for social injustice. A production company, which she just said that she's working for because she's producing his documentary. Mm-hmm. So her motive is clearly painted out. In these tweets. And then in the post that she put on her story that was directed towards me. So you completely put your motive out there, but let's dig a little deeper because I think that this leads into our next topic. Now Colin Kaepernick, is seen as someone who is kind of taking on social injustice, right? And a publishing company is a private for-profit company. A production company is a private for-profit company. And then so the next thing that Dez Bryant mentioned was there was no call to action. Now, someone who works in politics, who works in social advocacy and all those different things, he touches on a very crucial point, because a lot of times we get all of these symbolic, leaders and these people, like he said, who put out these tweets that are pump faking when it comes to representing or targeting social injustice, but there's no call to action on it. And so us as a black community, we're always looking for results. We're always looking for something to change. We're looking for politicians and our government to do something. But the problem that we face is that we never have a call to action. What's the steps? What are we going to do next? And so that's what I think that Dez Bryant is looking for.
That's why he's saying, it's hard to find out what to do next when it's one mind. And he's trying to say when we get multiple minds together, multiple people together, it's going to work better. We'll get more money faster. Things will work at a different speed, just in general. Everything's at an uptick when you got more involved. You can't get shit done by yourself.
Right.
You can't get to the top alone.
And then, and not only that, because one of the things that really rubs me the wrong way about social movements and political advocacy and all those different things is when you have people who never experience these issues.
Yeah.
They're writing the policy, they're writing the laws, they're controlling the money around these certain issues, and they've never experienced it. And so Dez Bryant is saying, well, I'm someone that's, comes from poverty. I'm someone who has dealt with depression as an NFL player. And so I should be on the front lines. People like me should be on the front lines, representing people who experience these types of things.
Yeah, because he even spoke about how when he came into the NFL, with the GM asked him at the Miami Dolphins.
Right. Was his mother a prostitute?
And it's why would I, you know what I mean?
They basically asked him that in the job interview.
Yeah.
That was basically his job interview. And the general manager asked him, was his mother a prostitute?
That's why he's so big on, let's get this shit together. Let's get this shit right. Let's get these motherfuckers out of here.
Right.
So what's the call to action? Let's get together and do it together, because we can't do it as one, because they're already singling us out and picking us all out of the NBA. Out of the NFL, one by one. You ain't playing no more. You ain't playing no more. Oh, you ain't playing no more neither.
Right.
So it's just happening one by one. So it's why not get together and make a fucking issue with this?
But you know
Solve
what?
something, a solution.
It goes back to what we said, how we opened this conversation around athletes and leadership, right? And so you got to ask yourself, why is it that Colin Kaepernick is at the table and not Dez Bryant? You know what I mean? Why is one of our leaders LeBron James and not Minister Louis Farrakhan? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why is Ice Cube at the table and not Dr. Claude Anderson? Why is Steve Harvey at the table and not Michael Eric Dyson or Dr. Boyce Watkins? You got to ask yourself these questions. Why are they taking athletes and entertainers into these rooms to represent us, and they're not taking the real black leaders, the people who's going to represent us properly? Why is that?
No, bro. What I do know is
why are they why are they giving $300 million to Colin Kaepernick, but again, not to Minister Louis Farrakhan, not to Dr. Claude Anderson, not to Michael Eric Dyson?
They know what's gonna happen with that.
Exactly. He's using the money to develop his production company to produce a documentary about himself
and get the same word he's been pushing for the last years out there again.
Right. Without any call to action. So your call to action was a documentary about yourself? Was a biography, an autobiography by yourself about yourself?
That's what it kind of looks like.
That's what it looks like. I ain't seen Colin Kaepernick out here
in a long time.
I definitely ain't seen the effects of 300 million.
Even though you can do a lot in silence, but not with 300 million.
Nah, if you're creating initiatives with $300 million, you need to be putting that out to the public.
Yeah, but
if you're taking $10, $20, $100,000 grants out of that, where are you advertising this? Yeah. Where's the initiatives from the Know Your Rights campaign? Where's their office located? What's the last event they had? What's the last civic engagement training they had? See, you can't talk that crazy stuff to me because I actually know the ins and outs of this game. I'm going to ask the right questions. So you can't, try to play, like I just don't know what I'm talking about. I worked in this field probably longer than most of the people we're talking about.
Longer than, this is a new, I feel like, some of the new shit that like her jumping in, I feel like she's kind of new to politics since this Colin Kaepernick shit started.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's when she finally got into, being politically correct about something.
Yeah.
I don't think that she was necessarily like into this her whole time at ESPN. You know what I mean? Until this whole kneeing thing happened. Or what was the Clippers situation with
the Clippers with the owner?
When all of that shit started happening, I feel like that's when it was like, oh, let me speak up now. I done made my money here. I done did what I had to do. Let me speak up for my people now. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of where that kind of came from at this point.
Right. And and most of them jump into it, when it's and that's another thing Dez Bryant said.
They jump into it when it's hot.
Right. And that's another point that he touched on. He touched on the fact that a lot of y'all will tweet about Black Lives Matter when it's hot, but then when that's no longer the trending topic, where are you? It's the same thing with Black Lives Matter. Got millions of dollars and one of the co-founders is buying $1 million mansions.
I was about to say, we already done tore them to shreds.
Right.
Y'all ain't even getting that. Yeah. We're not even putting that out.
Right.
We fucking destroyed Black Lives Matter. Right. And I can't lie to you, we'll have y'all looking at them in a funny way when I don't want to do that to them.
For real. And so, bro, let's segue into our next segment because it is the perfect segue into the next segment because, again, it talks about athletes and leadership. So go ahead. You want to take the lead on that?
Yeah, I'll take the lead on this, bro. So in the NBA, man, we had some crazy news going on lately about the COVID-19 vaccine. They actually didn't require all the players in the NBA to get vaccinated for this season, but certain states and certain cities got certain regulations that they want required to be in open events and participate in events or go to an event. Like, I don't even think we can go to a Celtics game without being vaccinated. Like,
yeah. I think they're requiring it of athletes, spectators, and staff.
And I know all staff has to be vaccinated, but NBA players don't gotta be vaccinated, but some states have a vaccine mandate. Like New York, for instance, got it. The Golden State Warriors got it. I mean, not Golden State,
San Francisco.
San Francisco got it. And I think Washington has it. Of course, they may have it because they're in the capital.
I mean, and that makes sense. Some of those cities that we just named are high density, high population cities.
Big cities, yeah.
And right. And so you got athletes like who? You got Kyrie Irving.
You got Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal, and Andrew Wiggins. They're like the main headliners in what's going on right now in terms of the COVID-19 vaccine because they haven't gotten it.
Right.
But 90% of the NBA is vaccinated.
Right.
So that means there's probably less than 50 people who aren't vaccinated right now in the NBA. I don't even know how many players there is in the NBA anymore. Like 3,000?
There's about 400.
400?
There's about 400.
So there might be about 50 players not even vaccinated right now. And these three happen to be one of them. But what I don't like is how they just literally making this like a thing in order for people to participate in it, bro. Like, I don't like the way Stephen A came at these players, like, trade them. Like, it's like, all right, if you trade these players, where are we trading them to? If you trade them to another team, that state got the same vaccine mandate as the team they coming from.
Right, or might have it.
But it's like, what are you really doing? You're dimming your chances of winning the championship. It's like, all right, they can't play home games. So that means out of 82 games in the season, they
can't play 41.
They're going to miss about 41.
And possibly more because if you play for the Warriors but you go to New York, you can't play in that game either.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
And the playoffs.
So you'll miss all 7 games if you're playing in a state where they have like the vaccine mandate.
The NBA Finals was against the Brooklyn Nets and the Golden State Warriors.
Neither one of them would be able to play
in the finals.
Wow.
And Kyrie was, he did his media day yesterday, and, he's kind of like got this earthly soul thing going on.
He irks me.
He just had a new baby. It's crazy because I've been following his baby mother on that's probably like the first person I ever subscribed to on YouTube.
Right.
And she fucking comes out of nowhere and she's pregnant by Kyrie. It was some weird fucking. That's what I'm saying. Kyrie's fucking out of this world. He's a real weird kid.
Yeah.
But out of the NBA, so today LeBron James came out. Who else came out? You said Damian Lillard came out, and they all was explaining, why they got the vaccine, and saying it was for family reasons, and they got their kids got it, and it's just like, at the beginning of this, they was all pushing this narrative like, I'm not getting vaccinated. I don't need to get vaccinated. I don't trust it. I need to do my research. Then now all of a sudden the season's about to start, and it's like, nah, let me get this vaccine, and you need to get it. You need to get it. You need to get it.
Right.
And I kind of feel like it's starting to hold people against their will,
I mean, but
their wishes, like Andrew Wiggins even tried the religion thing.
Right. He did.
He even tried the religion thing.
He definitely did.
And they told him no.
Yeah, he did. They denied him.
Yeah. Off the strip, he was trying to use the religion thing, as a way to. But it's like, I'm already getting tested. I'm still getting tested.
Right.
You just don't got to get tested as much.
Right.
When you're fully vaccinated. But you're going to get tested anyway. And it's like, you can still catch this thing. It's like, I don't know why they're doing this to these players.
Well, I'm no expert on vaccines or viruses, right?
As you can hear it.
But I like to ask questions. Mm-hmm. So I've talked to several nurses over the course of this pandemic to see how real is this thing. Like, is COVID real? Number one, I think that was the main concern that people had. Is COVID real? And I got a straight answer from most nurses and said, yes, this thing is real. And if you catch it, there's nothing we can do for you. There were nurses who are saying, we're literally watching people take their last breath, and we can't do anything about it. We cannot help you. We don't have the skill. A lot of them have it
early on too. Like,
this is even now.
Now they're a little better, but
but now this is even now. Some nurses have told me that they don't even have the education to be able to tackle this virus. They said that they never learned about pandemics and COVID, and
which is crazy.
They never learned about that stuff in school.
Money Man came out of pandemic tape, and they don't know about pandemics.
Right. So I'm just saying, you feel me? Like, so I think that kills the whole speculation of whether COVID is a real thing or not. But then when it comes to the vaccine, Damian Lillard actually made a very good point. He made the point that he's been getting, vaccines. He's gotten the flu shot pretty much every year since he was a kid.
You know what's so crazy? They had the chickenpox vaccine. That was the vaccine, right?
May have been.
They had the chickenpox vaccine. I never got that vaccine. And I never got the chickenpox.
Right. But if you remember,
now the chickenpox ain't even around anymore. They used to be called the measles.
But if you remember, though, before we went to college, you had to take that tuberculosis shot. You remember that?
Wasn't it a tetanus shot? No.
It was like whatever it is, but it was to tackle tuberculosis.
Oh, okay.
And I remember they was making everybody take that tuberculosis shot.
Yeah, but once they started doing the swine flu shot, and where was the other thing that came? There was something that came from
Ebola.
Ebola. You know what I mean? They had the swine flu, Ebola, and all of that stuff. And it's like, yo, bro, like, why y'all coming out of nowhere telling us we got to take a shot for this, take a shot for that, take a shot for that? And it's like, nigga, what am I putting in my body in the first place? They had no trial or error. Like, what was they testing this medication on, bro?
Right.
Like, they was testing it on actual humans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, yo, like, if I'm not ready to take it, I'm not ready to take it. Can y'all give some more time? Like, don't try to, like, I mean, it's crazy. Because we can go into the people at the hospital.
Yeah, but I kind of want to touch on something because, and it kind of goes back to my original point about athletes and leadership.
Yep.
And Kyrie is one of the people that, this whole media spotlight has been on him around this whole COVID and vaccine business. And my problem with Kyrie is, again, you got athletes who train all their life to be athletes. During the season, during the off season, they're training all day to be an athlete. And I don't think that any of them are training to be community leaders or to be political advocates,
I
right?
mean, and to be honest with you, they don't have to, but they need to, like, if they want to take that direction and want to be that popular, polarized.
You need to learn the game.
You need to learn the game. Yeah.
You need to have a coach. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You need to have a coach. You need to learn about strategy. You need to learn about the processes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You need to know the who's who, because it ain't just when it comes to politics and social advocacy, it's not about what you know. It's about who you know. And so you need to know who is who. You know what I mean? You need to know who's the people on the ground level doing the work. You need to know who the elected officials, who the elected officials are that's actually representing us on a state level or a city level or a federal level. And so I don't think that these athletes are taking the time to really tailor their skills and develop themselves as social leaders. And so you got people like Kyrie. And again, one of my problems with Kyrie is that, one, I think that he's very self-serving, number one. Mm-hmm. And I think just the way he's going about handling himself in the media is just all wrong. And I'll tell you why. Because
you don't think it's a plan, though?
A plan for him?
Yeah, like, you don't think this is calculated?
No, I don't. I think it's emotional, and I think it's irrational. Okay. And I'll say that because, one, Kyrie signed up to be an NBA player. So even growing up, watching the NBA as a kid, you knew that media was a part of the game.
Of course.
You couldn't wait to hear Kobe Bryant speak in that post-game interview after the game. Like, you was tuned into that. All of us were tuned into that. But then not only that, bro, because some people just want to be an athlete and just go about their business. Michael Jordan gets a lot of flack for that.
He used to do
because he didn't speak up about social issues. But can I tell you the difference between Michael Jordan and Kyrie Irving? Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan never signed up to be the vice president of the Players Association. Kyrie Irving did.
Yeah, he did.
So Kyrie Irving, he's not just a player, he's the vice president of the Players Association.
Didn't they give the title to
CJ McCollum is the president.
Okay, all right.
Kyrie Irving is one of the vice presidents. I think they have about 4 or 5 vice presidents. Harrison Barnes is the treasurer.
Okay.
And then I think Andre Iguodala is the first vice president, and then you have the other vice presidents who come up under that. Mm-hmm. Kyrie Irving is one of the vice presidents. So you took on a position.
Trying to get them not to play in the bubble last year.
He was, again, taking on a leadership role. So now that you're in that leadership role, you don't want to properly represent the players? I would be okay with Kyrie Irving if he said, I just want to be a basketball player and that's it. But once you sign up for a position to represent the rest of the players, you have a responsibility. You can't just get up to the media and just say, well, I don't want to talk about it. You know, it's not, this is my personal life. Well, no, it's not just about your personal life. You're the vice president of the Players Association. You signed up to not just represent yourself, but to represent the players as a body.
Yeah, I mean, and Kyrie's one of those people who's very, like he don't seem like he wants to say nothing. It seems like he's one of those dudes that get behind closed doors and go crazy. Like, he'll be voicing everything, then he'll get in front of everybody and kind of hold back a little bit and just say tedious shit, like nits and pieces of what he really mean.
Right.
So people have to piece shit together. You know what I mean? But he's definitely not. I mean, you can tell he's not a leader, though.
Right. I mean, yeah.
He don't got real good leadership
qualities. He don't.
Even he's a point guard.
Even as a player, he don't got good leadership qualities. Right. Yeah.
Because he's not even the point guard on his own team right now.
Right. And he's definitely not a pass first point guard.
He's not the point guard in general. James
Right.
Harden is. So it's
Right.
like he's not even leading in that category, leading his team in that way. And that's what a lead guard is supposed to be.
Right. I mean, he had leadership issues with the Cavs. Then he came to Boston, had leadership
Sunk our
issues
ship.
here.
We went to the Eastern Conference Finals without him.
Right.
And then he left. We went further than we did the next year. Like,
Right.
No.
Right. So, I just think, and this isn't, to try to like put him down. I just think that he has some work to do because some
more learning and growing.
Some more learning and growing to do.
And I feel like that'll come to him in his 30s.
Right. But you got to learn how to follow, though. You got to learn, you know what I mean? If you want to take on a leadership role, you got to learn how to be. And that was a lesson, honestly, that I had to learn the hard way. Mm-hmm. I think because, speaking about me personally, I'm a very strong-headed person. You know what I mean? And I think I'm a natural leader. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, but I had a rude awakening, man. I had people put me back in my place once again to let me know, Herb, you got to learn to follow before you can lead. Shout out to my mentor, Michael Curry. He taught me a very valuable lesson. Herb, you got to learn to follow before you can lead. And that is something that I'm still learning. I'm not the best leader. I know that I make mistakes. I know that my communication isn't always the best, but it's something that you got to work on.
It is. And it's progress. It's not going to happen overnight, but you at least got to be trying.
Right.
For a change to come. You got to at least be trying. And I do, like you said, I do feel like it's a lot of self things that Kyrie is kind of worried about. Everything's for him. Like, there's nothing really about anybody else.
Right.
It's all in his favor. So
right. He's not even because it recently came out that the NBA actually can't put a mandate on the players within the NBA to get the vaccine without the Players Association agreeing to that.
Yeah, they didn't agree.
Right. So, I mean, even being level-headed enough.
It starts to become a state thing. That's different.
Right, but at least
the NBA's in on that too. Like, man, make it a state thing so we get all these guys. You know?
Right. But at least they have some leverage to where the NBA, you know, as a corporation, they can't force it on the players. You know, as kind of like with most people's jobs. Most people's jobs are telling them you have to get the vaccine. The NBA can't say that to the NBA players without getting the Players Association to agree. So even Kyrie being level-headed enough and being articulate enough to when he's asked about it to say, as the vice president of the Players Association, this is something that we're talking with our counterparts about.
I got a question for you.
What?
Do you think he would retire before he gets this vaccine?
I think he would. I think he is. You think he is?
I think he's going to retire.
I can see
Whether
that.
it be for a year or two, niggas come back.
Yeah.
They come back, but
is anybody going to want you back?
He's already got a contract for the next couple years.
They'll sever that. You know there's ways around that. They'll give him a little payout.
I'm about to say he ain't Mike, man. You know how Mike is retiring and coming back.
Yeah, they'll give him a little payout and it'll be sayonara. They won't see him again. You won't see Kyrie again. He'll fall off the fit. And then, you know, within the next 2 years, how many new players are going to come into the league? He could be forgot about in two seasons.
He'll be forgot about in a couple seasons, but at the same time, he's going to be a legend. He's going to go down as
On top of that, he'll be 2 years older.
Yeah.
He'll be 2 years removed from the game.
Yeah, I think he might retire.
Hey.
I can see him retiring, but I don't see Andrew Wiggins retiring. Andrew gonna get that vaccine.
Andrew or go play in Canada.
And you know they don't mind sending him to Canada.
Word.
Him and Anthony Bennett.
They might actually be doing him a favor by sending him to Canada.
Yeah.
And
letting him play for the Raptors at least. Like,
oh, yeah, let him play for the Raptors. I didn't even think about that. I was thinking like the Canada League.
I know you.
I was thinking the Canada League.
Nah, Wiggy's a little better than the Canada League.
Hey, listen, man. But I don't know, man. This is interesting to see. Again, 90% of the NBA is vaccinated. So it's a very small percentage of people in the league that aren't vaccinated. So I'm just interested to see how this plays out, particularly with these stars. You know what I mean? With Kyrie Irving, with Bradley Beal, you know? I mean, Andrew Wiggins could be replaced. They got the number 7 draft pick. They really don't need Andrew Wiggins, and he played the same position.
Once them dudes get better, he's on his way.
He might already outdo Andrew Wiggins. He might bust Andrew Wiggins out. Yeah, Jonathan Kuminga.
The other cat too, though. He shoot it and all that.
Who, Jordan Poole?
No, the new cat that they just got in the draft too. Also from old Mississippi State.
Who's that?
Moody.
Oh yeah.
Moody, he was good too. He's nice. Freshman, one and done kid, top kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He played a guard position. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, man, we're gonna follow this, you know, to see how this plays out. I mean, even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came out and said, "Get rid of them. They don't want to get vaccinated. Get rid of them." And that was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He's partially cracker to me. He's partially a cracker to me.
He's Muslim.
He's a cracker to me.
He with the nation.
He's a cracking.
You know, he was Al Cinder. Now you Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He ain't from New York no more. He's definitely not from New York. I respect the legend, but he's not from New York no more.
Lou Al
He's
Cinder.
not from New York no more. Because there's New York niggas out here doing New York shit, but I ain't going to get into that
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
What I'm going to get into, though, is the New York motherfucking state mandate for their vaccination on the healthcare.
On the nurses.
On the nurses and stuff. How they go from being heroes and first liners and everybody loving them last year, they putting their life on the line. There was no such thing as a vaccine. They was out there sitting in there with people with COVID. Some of these nurses died or dying from it.
Yeah.
And now
some of them can't go home.
Some of them couldn't go home for mad long. There was in there people getting married. They couldn't be around certain folks for mad long. And then now a year later, they're going to tell them either they said get the vaccine by 5 o'clock today.
Yeah.
Or you're suspended and you're in jeopardy of losing. No, you're fired.
Yeah. Well, that's actually happening here as well.
It is.
There were some, agencies. There's some, I
got to get tested weekly.
Right.
And I got to put in a new test every week, and that shit is annoying. And it's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
To me, because it's like I'm keep doing this rapid test or I keep doing the other tests, but some of these tests don't even fucking tell the truth.
Right. But I mean, you're also working with people and stuff like you actually caught COVID.
I had COVID. That's why
you had
talking
COVID.
About it when you was talking about it, talking about people like with their last breaths and shit. It was a scary, dark moment. That shit was not, nigga. I was with you.
Right. I know. That's what I'm saying. I know.
I was with you and you didn't catch it.
I know.
Like, that was the crazy part to me.
Yeah.
So it's like, you could literally be with somebody literally doing what we're doing right now and I can catch it and he can't catch it. And it was just like.
Right. We were literally in the same, literally,
this.
Just like this.
We was doing the
setup.
same thing like this in a different place and boom, I ended up with COVID. And that shit was crazy. You know what I mean? So it's like these people was catching COVID and still helping people with COVID.
Right.
I couldn't fucking imagine.
And so you're pretty much in the prime stage of your life. So, which means you're pretty strong and healthy.
Yeah.
Could you imagine someone going through what you went through that's older, that's either 2 times older or twice as younger?
They're not making it, bro. They're not. I was walking outside with no shirt on, no socks on. I was outside Commander with a pair of sweatshorts on because I was sweating, blazing hot.
Wow.
And it was cold outside. I was sweating.
Right. Yeah, I don't think this was summertime when you caught it.
No.
Yeah.
It was April. It was still cold outside. It was just starting to warm up, but it was still snowing and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, I can't believe people are going from saving lives, risking their lives, doing what they had to do for New York, doing what they had to do for these people. And they're literally firing them a year later just if they don't want to get vaccinated. But it's like, I already had COVID. Why I got to get vaccinated? That's a lot of the questions for a lot of people right now.
Right.
If I had COVID, it's already in my system. What you're doing with that shot is putting a little bit of it in my system.
Right. With some protein on top of it, which is what I heard. Yeah. It has a protein on top of it. This is what I heard from a professional. I heard that a professional nurse, a registered nurse, this is what I heard from her. I heard that you're right. The vaccine is giving you a small dosage of the virus, but it has a protein attached to it. So when you do contract the virus again, your body has the tools to be able to fight it off. That it basically activates that protein and creates antibodies within you that allows it to fight it off.
All right, so those antibodies wear off. That's why they're starting to do this fucking booster shot.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is I had COVID. The antibodies was fully off up in me.
Right.
Without no protein. It was inside of me, the full real shit.
Right.
Why am I going to get vaccinated if I got those antibodies in me still? They might wear off at some point.
Right. Or might not be as active.
But shit, the way I had it, nigga, what? That shit was scary, dog. That shit was scary. So that's why it's like, I really do feel bad for those workers out there in New York, man. I don't know what they gonna do. I felt, you know what I was thinking about while I was driving here? I'm like, yo, why can't all of those doctors get together and create their own fucking practice or something like that and become home doctors and meet people at their homes and shit like that? They could start their own shit like that.
Which I'm sure they could. But you know what? I'm glad that we're kind of talking about you catching COVID because, you know, you catching COVID wasn't at fault of your own. It was other people who were being irresponsible. Yeah. And still out here being active with COVID we was in a closed space with no windows.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is we didn't even know to do.
And we didn't even know. We didn't even know till days later.
Yeah.
Till days later.
Oh yeah, yo.
I forgot to tell you.
I forgot to let you know.
Right.
Like, yo, my mans had it. Mind you, I'm already at the crib going through it.
Right. Yeah, you called me like, yo, bro. I think I got the vid.
Nigga said, the vid? What vid? Nigga, the vid 19. The vid 19? Right. Nigga, COVID. Nigga thought I was talking about a video.
Right. I definitely did. Man.
Yeah,
so,
man.
You know, it's just interesting to see how this thing plays out. You know, I'm not someone that's like, I'm not advocating for the vaccine or anything like that, you know. But
do what's best for you, man.
Yeah, do what's best for you. Right. Do what's best for you. But when you work for somebody else, you're susceptible to their rules.
Yeah, that's why it's like either you go like me right now. It's either I get tested. If they try to put that on me, I don't mind walking away.
Right.
I don't mind walking away, and I'm one of them motherfuckers that leave a job, even though I don't leave jobs like that. But I won't hesitate to leave. Like I'm not scared or nothing like that. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like there's ways to make money out here.
Right.
There's hustle. You just got to be a hustler at this point.
Right.
That's when you start tapping into survival mode. Like, man, fuck it, man. Like, I got to get this shit done myself.
And last thing, part of the reason why I think that they're, you know, forcing this vaccine on people is because the government spent all this government money on it, all this tax money on it. So they're not going to put these vaccines in a storage and let them sit there and collect dust.
Yeah, they want them shits utilized.
They want them shits utilized because Pfizer's a private company, Johnson & Johnson's a private company, and so they're purchasing these vaccines from private companies. They got to use them shits.
And then you see crazy whack, drugged out fucking Joe Biden. this fucking dickhead, he's really on fucking news. Getting a booster shot on the news, like talking in the microphone, getting a shot at the same time. On dogs, he looks like a clone.
Well, bro. Again, going back to athletes and entertainers in
that's supposed to
leadership,
be our leadership. That's
right?
What I'm saying.
Athletes. So they think if we get Joe Biden to do it, then we can get the rest of the black community to do it. If we can ask LeBron James about why he got the vaccine, then everybody else is going to fall right in line. Damian Lillard.
What do you think they're going to do with people who don't get the vaccine?
I don't know.
You think they're going to start spraying some shit out here?
You know, I get real religious, so, you know, we don't want to get into that. But, you know, all I'm going to say is Mark of the Beast. Look it up. Google it. Google Mark of the Beast if you don't know about it. But let's go ahead and jump into our next topic, bro, because this one is just as controversial, if not more controversial, and it actually ties into a few other issues in some of the latest news that have been taking place. So let's go ahead and get into this next topic, man. What you got for me, bro?
Yeah, bro, man. I ain't even gonna hold you. We got Nikki Minaj, man, and her controversial self at the top. I'm actually mad that fucking Drizzy and Wayne sent her this fucking song. I'm gonna start there. I don't know why they sent her this song, because she didn't dumb out. But first and foremost, man, I want to say my prayers to the lady, you know, the young lady, before we even get into this.
Yeah, what was her name?
You know what I mean? What was her name?
I think it was like Jennifer or...
You know, the dude that Nikki's so-called husband. Is that her husband? Is she married?
That's her husband. So Nikki's husband...
So, all right, so Nikki's husband, back in 1996, Nikki's husband went to jail for a rape case, right? But him and the girl, they were both the same age. They were both 16 years old. And the lady actually came out. This is her first time speaking out in public recently. And she talked about how...
we got something playing? What we got playing?
I don't know what the fuck that was.
Go ahead.
All right. So, yeah. So, Nikki's husband caught a rape case in 94. He actually raped a girl while they was on their way to school in the morning, and
he was convicted of rape.
He was convicted of rape. He did, I think 4 years?
I think he did about 4 years.
He did about 4 years. He had to register as a
sex offender.
So recently, in 2020, this past year, he didn't register as a sex offender in L.A. So that's why this came about, because Nikki and them then hit the lady up because they're trying to get her to recant her story and take it away so that he don't have to keep registering as a sex offender anymore.
Because if he lives with Nikki Minaj and he registers as a sex offender, then that means that their home address is public. Because because you can actually look up all the sex offenders in your neighborhood.
Them shits pop up in your phone.
Yeah.
That shits will pop up in your phone and tell you that there's one in your neighborhood. Actually, Experian has that built into their app. Where it tells you there's a sex offender around the corner or a sex offender right here or whatever. So whatever the case may be with that. But his accuser came out recently and she sat down with everybody on The Real Show in the morning or whatever. Yep. And she explained detail for detail what happened. She even went so far as to say that when he got up, he started beating on his chest.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are you fucking shitting me, bro?
Yeah.
Like, that's some real retarded tap shit. Like, I know that he's not okay in the fucking head. But anyway, let's get back to fucking Nikki.
Right.
Nikki offers the lady 20 grand to drop the case for some trauma shit. Nikki, please. If that was you, you wouldn't have dropped no fuck. You would have been going through it. You would have been asking for money in the first place. You would have been trying to get a civil case. You wouldn't have wanted that man outside the jails. If that was your cousin, your sister, your anybody of that nature, you would be going against this man trying to get him thrown under the jail.
Right.
But instead, here you go. You have the man come home. He came home again. He got locked up mad times. He came home and you gave him the putty. You left Meek Mill, had Meek Mill ready to fight him, and you gave him the putty. Nikki, you gave him the putty, right? Boom. She get married to old boy. You seen him? Have you seen him?
I've seen him.
He looked like he did what they said he did.
He looked like a sex offender?
He looked like he did what they said he did. He keep doing this. He do the Stevie J face.
That's his regular face? That's his resting bitch face?
This one.
Yeah. That is his face.
Yeah, nigga, like you
that
taking shit, bro. You taking shit.
Face.
I see it all in your face. So
wild aggressive.
Yeah, that's how I know. Like Nikki, like
you're
scared of him, Nikki.
Yeah.
Nikki's scared of him.
Yeah.
Nikki's scared of him. So boom, right? Nikki builds the man now. She marries him and has a baby with him, bro.
She probably like it rough. She probably like to feel like that. Like she probably like to role play. Like
she like jail joint.
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj like jail joint. See when Meek was coming home, she was getting jail joint.
Right.
Meek was home too long, she dumped him, and she got her some more new jail joint. Like she like jail joint. It's cool. It's cool. She like jail joint.
She like to get pounded out.
She like built up semen.
Yeah.
She like that. Yeah, whatever. I ain't even gonna get
right.
She like it raw.
Oh, baby, I like it. Yo, you're a fool.
Right? So look, bro, right? She has a baby with this man. Mind you, I want to know where all the rest of his baby mamas is at because he had these babies after he caught this rape conviction. And this is Nikki's holding him down. Like, this is the sacred child she got with him. Like, this is his only baby. This is like baby number 4 or 5.
Wow.
I'm like, damn, Nick.
Right.
That ain't even like you ain't even got your own nigga.
Right.
Like, you could have took me.
Right.
I ain't got no kids.
But I think there's a underlining issue because not only was her husband convicted, but her brother as well. So I'm just like, what is it?
Is it like a fetish? does she like that type of shit? Like, what's going on? Like,
I mean, is it something in their household? Is it something from her background? Like, because I mean, and I'm not, passing any judgment. I'm not drawing any conclusions. I'm just going off the information that we have.
Yeah, me too.
And her brother was brought up on charges. Her husband was convicted. I mean, just what is it?
What's happening?
Yeah,
and I don't know if she's like doing therapy or she's doing anything to get like to talk about this or see if she can like.
And she actually comes to their defense. She paid, her brother's lawyer fees.
Her brother, I understand her trying to go to bat for her brother, but I mean, if he did it, he's a fucking scumbag. We need to lock
He's
him up.
He's a pedophile. He need to go do his time.
Yeah, he got to do his time. But she paid for him to go do his time. She paid and he lost. So you know what I mean. But the like to have a nigga come home from jail and his background, like she knew he had a rap case, and she gonna say, yeah, the girl was 15 and he was 16 at the time. That's why it was called rape. But she didn't really know the story. That's probably how he came home and kicked it over the phone. Like, yeah, when I get home, all that bullshit. You know what I mean? But another thing is with Nikki, did you hear about the COVID vaccine situation she had?
No.
So Nikki had a situation, right? So she was talking about the vaccine and why she don't want to get the vaccine. She says she's not getting the vaccine because her cousin's homeboy.
Oh yeah, I did hear about this.
Went and got the vaccine, and they went away for his bachelor party, and his testicles
balls blew up or some shit,
swelled up.
Yeah.
Nikki. The hospitals, the I don't even know. I think it was somebody in the state or the country over there in Trinidad went and fact checked that. She's lying. There's no such case like that here in our country. We have not heard anything like that. They fact checked her on that, so Nikki's going back and forth with them, and it's like, yo, you're all in the news for all types of shit, and you know how she covers all of it up? She either drops a song.
Yep.
Or she fucking posts a picture.
Yep.
And you know what's so crazy? Her accuser came out. You know what she did next day?
What?
She posted a fucking family picture. With money doing the Stevie J face. And I wonder if he can't grow his facial hairs because he's a pedophile.
Like I was say, yeah, what, he got the pedophile face?
Because he don't got no facial hairs, but I think he keeps shaving it off because he got to keep it clean.
Yeah.
I think that's a part of the regiment.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at money like, yeah, you look like you do what they say you do. You know what I mean? So if Meek Millie was trying to get at him, I wish Meek Millie would have beat him up or somebody put their hands on him because he was out here taking shit. Like, I don't like that about him. Like, I don't like him.
But not only has that been in the news, but
like him.
R. Kelly also was recently convicted of sex trafficking as well. Not only sex trafficking, but racketeering. So they're trying to make it seem he was basically convicted of having like a sex trafficking business.
Like ring.
Yeah, because racketeering means that you're operating a wing of a business.
And all of that's on like out for the public to see for years now. So it's like, damn, he's finally getting convicted of that type of shit, and he just was doing all this shit out in the open, out in the public, in his songs and shit. Like, when all that Surviving R. Kelly shit came out, that kind of rap Kels the fuck up.
Yeah, it did, for sure.
That rap Kels the fuck up. And I was like, damn, Kels.
But, but can I play devil's advocate with you real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you have another case that, it was actually never a case because he was never charged. But T.I. and Tiny, there were accusations.
It was dismissed recently.
There were accusations against T.I. and Tiny that they were also drugging people and sexually assaulting people and whatnot, or sex drive, whatever the claim was.
I remember that.
But it was something in that realm, and the district attorney, for Georgia or wherever that state, I believe it was in Georgia, because they were saying that it took place at their home. But the district attorney looked into it and said, "I don't see anything criminal here. I'm not going to charge him."
Because there wasn't enough evidence.
There wasn't enough
more
evidence.
evidence for Kels than there was for them.
Right.
Because Kels actually got a video.
Right. But I'm saying, but my question to you is this a plot against, black men to kind of, put these charges or put these claims on them?
If you think about it, that's what happens to a lot of successful black men once they get to the top. They hit you with either a rape case or a murder.
Right.
They try to find a way to bring you down, and at some point you coming down.
Right.
They're going to get you for something, some type of fraud, some type of not paying your taxes.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Who was that?
Wesley Snipes.
Like, come on, they're gonna try to get you.
They got Fat Joe too. Fat Joe went to jail for tax evasion.
They got him. They got Fat Joe. They got
and that's actually federal prison too.
That's what I'm saying. And who else they got? They got somebody else. They got Bill Cosby. Even though Pill might have did what he did, or
but I don't believe that because
that's what I'm saying. We don't know, but they still attacked him. They still came with that energy of trying to take him down as a black man.
Well, see, T.I.'s situation and Bill Cosby's situation is very similar.
They are.
Because, again, in T.I.'s situation, you had the district attorney actually investigated and came to the conclusion that there was no charges that could be filed or nothing criminal took place. Well, the same thing happened with Bill Cosby.
And his is old.
Right. So at the time that these charges were originally brought onto Bill Cosby, the district attorney at that time investigated and came to the conclusion that there was nothing criminal that took place. And so, but then that district attorney retired. A new district attorney is elected. The new district attorney looks at Bill Cosby's case and say, I'm going to charge him as a criminal. Mm-hmm. On top of that, Bill Cosby had already settled the matter because he paid the woman like $3.6 million.
Yeah, he did.
So he had already settled the case in as a civil suit in civil court.
Okay.
And so then you had this, mind you, when people break the law, you break the law two ways. You either break it in civil court or you break it in criminal court. Mm-hmm. That district attorney said, this is not a criminal matter, it's a civil matter. He paid her.
Okay.
He settled it by giving the woman. And then they brought it back and made it a criminal case. And then that's when he was incarcerated. But they had to let him go because they looked at it and said, he already settled this matter in civil court. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, our district attorneys looked at that and said, there's nothing criminal here. And so that's why they had to let him go. And so it would be the same thing with T.I. Imagine now, 50 years later, a new district attorney comes in for the state of Georgia, reopens that case, and decides to charge T.I. and Tiny as criminals.
Somebody have to get that open though? Like somebody, one of the accusers have to get that open? Or
they could just open it up. It's just like murder.
That's
murder, there's no statute of limitations on murder. They can open up that case whenever.
But I thought somebody would have to go in and be, like a family member, somebody who wants it to.
The state could charge you, without anybody. You know what I mean? That's like if I assault you, if I hit you, you don't have to, press charges on me. The state they don't need you to press charges.
Yeah. I've seen that before.
Right. So it's the same thing.
They do it in the case of domestic shit. You know
right,
what I mean?
Right.
Like when stuff happening to the girl or the guy, they might not want to press charges and they be like, nah, we're taking this into our own hands because you're not going to do it because of emotional distress or whatever it could be.
Right.
Okay.
So I just want to play devil's advocate because we got to weigh these situations on a scale.
We do.
You know what I mean? To just not look at them on a surface level, but really look into the details of it. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, understanding the court procedure, about how these things are happening. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, someone like T.I. and Tiny, they weren't charged. But imagine 50 years later. They then reopen that case and decide to charge them as criminals and throw them in jail.
And they're at a state in their mind and their head where they can't even participate in what's happening in court. Like Bill Cosby, he couldn't even really talk or speak up or stand for himself in those court cases because he was so old when they came and brought them things back.
He probably can't even remember half the stuff he did at that time.
Talking about like who?
Right.
That's how I felt like he was in there. Like, who? Like,
right.
When? Like, because he was already, like, what is it, dementia? He might even got that. Like,
right.
Who knows?
Not to mention it was 50 women who came out with accusations against him.
Hey, Bill was getting a lot of pussy, you hear me?
Yeah, listen.
At 50 females coming up to Bill, there's no way he had to take.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
he's like the first one of the rich black men that, come up.
On top of that, the man been married for the past 50, 60 years. Yeah. He been married to Camille Cosby forever. So you're going to tell me Camille Cosby don't know that her husband is a serial rapist? He's raped over 50 women.
And he hasn't done it to her.
And he ain't did it to her. In life? Right. Or maybe their kids. Because, I mean, if you're like a serial rapist like that.
50?
The chances are you want to turn on your own kids. Yeah. I wouldn't put it past you.
Or family somewhere.
A niece.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him neither. If that's how he is. If that's what he's saying, that's how he get down.
Right. And so for me, I always try to, deep dive into these situations and kind of take it case by case. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I think it's being a black man, it's a very dangerous thing to kind of put this rape energy on all black men.
Yeah, because they push that. They push that.
Right.
That's like the number one thing they try to do. But that's what I'm saying.
I mean, Cuban Gooding Jr., that was another one.
We could take it here. Emmett Till.
Emmett Till, you read my mind.
Emmett Till.
Read my mind.
Emmett Till, you could take it there. Like, it just starts with that. Like, they'll put rape on a black kid.
On a black kid. Only for the accuser
to come out way after and say that there was a lie. Like, that's tough. That's tough, and that's how I look at.
Yeah. So I mean, call it bias, but this is why this all it is has completely changed the way I move. In different settings.
Yeah.
When I'm in a professional setting, I don't care how good you look. I am not complimenting you. Any woman I work with in a professional setting, you will not get a compliment from me. Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to give you a deuces.
Yeah, I really don't even want to do lunch with you. I don't want to kick it with you after work.
I won't kiss your hand.
I ain't going to kiss your hand.
You know what I mean? I don't even really want a handshake because it's COVID.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complimenting you on your dress, your shoes, your hair, your makeup. You're not going to get any. You might not even really get a hi from me. You'll get a good morning.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. That's it. So think about that. That's just us as black men, how that changes how we move.
And I'm about to say, and I feel as though at this point, they might have to say something to me, like something sexual, because I'm scared.
And even still, I'm going to look at you like, is you trying to set me up?
Yeah.
You trying to line me up?
Yeah, I ain't trying to go down.
Right,
man.
With the side eye.
I ain't trying to go down, man. Not for that bullshit, man. That's crazy. That's how they doing it, though, man. But
yeah, man. I mean, but, controversy, man. Controversy. There's a lot of controversy that's taking place right now, man. And the black community's in shambles, man. We need to get it together.
We got to get it together. We dropped the ball on the mayor race here in Boston, man. Yeah. We got my guy, motherfucking Dez Bryant, trying to get everybody together, black athletes together to do some shit. So he's trying to hit Colin Kaepernick. We got another black lady coming at him about him trying to do that. Like, we're in shambles, like bro said. We need to get this shit together, man.
And I think a lot of y'all should go back and look at what Malcolm X said about athletes and entertainers and leadership. I think people should go look that up, research that, because he spoke about this decades ago. Just about, again, athletes, entertainers in leadership positions when it comes to the black community. It never works out for us. One, because their leadership is tied to a paycheck. We saw that with Jemele Hill. She only jumped out the window and came at Dez Bryant because she has a contractual agreement with Colin Kaepernick. She's producing his new documentary. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So you obviously have a motive. You're biased, in a certain extent.
Yeah.
And so, we just, and this is what Malcolm X talked about decades ago. He talked about how their stance is slighted a lot of times because of capitalism, because they're being motivated, they're being pushed. They whoever's pushing them has the leverage of controlling their livelihood through their paycheck. And so, and all of it applies. It just applies to everything that we're talking about when it comes to the vaccine. Again, they're getting our athletes and entertainers who are in leadership to get the vaccine and then come out and talk about why they got the vaccine to influence the rest of the black community to get it.
99% of the time when they say why they got the vaccine, they say to keep my family safe.
To keep my family safe.
Not my family and friends, to keep my family safe. They emphasize the family on that.
Right. Right. So it is a decision for themselves, which I have no problem with. But I think they need to understand that how they're being used and how their influence is being leveraged, you know, to then influence the rest of the community. I mean, it's no secret that President Biden and his administration are doing strategic things to try to get the black and brown community to take the vaccine.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we was most affected by COVID.
Right.
Like the black and brown was most affected by COVID. So it's like, it's kind of easy for them to try to throw that on us.
Yeah.
Because when they threw that fucking lottery out there, bro, they're giving people a chance to win $1 million if you go get your COVID vaccine shot.
Yeah.
Like, that was crazy to me, dog.
Yeah.
And it's like, who's going to do that? Black people. Ain't no white people really rushing to hurry up and go. I mean, white people going to do the lottery, but ain't no white people really rushing to go do the lottery get a shot to go hop in the line to do the lottery to win $1 million in Massachusetts. So they're doing this in every state. You know how many people they got to go get that shot just to lose in the lottery? Because there's no chance you really going to win the lottery.
Right. Right. You got a better chance of getting struck by lightning.
Yeah. You know
what
I mean? So.
Right. But, bro, this was a great show, man. By far, one of our most controversial shows.
Yeah, I feel like we got into detail on some shit, especially you, man. You did your thing today.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It was definitely good dialogue,
and
man.
Shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to all of our listeners, man. Shout out to all of our supporters. If you want to catch more episodes of the Goldmembers Podcast, check us out online, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. Bro, tell them where to find us on social media.
Yeah, make sure y'all check us out on Instagram, man. Goldmembers Podcast, man. At Goldmembers Podcast. Make sure y'all follow us, man. Hit us in the DMs and like every picture you see.
You already know, man. I'm one half of the podcast, certified gold member, Herb Reed.
Know what I mean? I'm the other half of the Gold Members, man. Tyson, man. Hit me, man, on social media, man. At Goldmembers on Twitter and Instagram. Get it, be a go.
Shout out to Bia with this new joint, too.
Feel me? She's kind of on fire right now.
I'm a treater. Herbo.
Get in, we ready to go, baby. Don't ask no question, just roll, baby. Told this you my shooter. Teach me something, be my tutor. Fuck them bitches, they buy suitor. Let me show you how maneuver.
That's my favorite Spanish word. Basura.
We out of here, man.
One thing I will never say is a broke nigga bitch.